If you've listened to Don speak once, you've only heard the beginning of his conversation on greatness. Award-winning keynote speaker Don Yeager continues to look at what makes the great ones great, and audiences can't stop raving. You'll naturally wonder whether the sequel can ever be as good as the original. We can absolutely say that the second speech was as good, maybe even better, than the first speech. Don tells great stories, including ones from legendary coach John Wooden.
You see, if you want to achieve great things, you must handle the little details first. Today we talked about putting on your shoes and socks. You see, on your sock, when I tell you to rub the bottom of your foot and make sure there's not a wrinkle on the bottom of your foot, there's a reason. You see, once you put your shoe on and you lace it and you don't lace it tight enough, you're going to go out to practice this afternoon, and as you're cutting and as you're moving, your foot's going to slide in and out of your shoe. And if you've got a wrinkle on the bottom of that sock, you're going to develop a blister. And if you develop a blister, you're going to need to sit out of practice. And if you sit out practices, you'll end up sitting out games. And if you sit out games, you won't win championships. The greatest things you're going to achieve will only be done if you handle the little details first. Coach Wooden then turned around and walked out of the arena. And each and every one of those players, to this day, put their shoes and socks on the same way. They remember and they learned a lesson right then that if you want to achieve at the highest level, if you want to be a champion, you've got to start by handling the smallest of details and making sure those details are done correctly. Coach Wooden used to call them shoes and socks moments. And he would talk, when he talked to people, when he had breakfast with others, he used to talk a lot about what are your shoes and socks moments. What are the moments that if you handled them better in your day? What are the things that if you took off your plate and you managed them better, the rest of your day, the rest of your life could in fact be shaped in a more positive fashion.
He shares stories learned from great men like Dick and Rick Hoyt.
Dick Hoyt became a national TV sensation. He was on every major show you could imagine. Billboards in Times Square show he and his son running. The Atlanta airport, they're all throughout the airport. They show the two of them running one behind the other. Amazing. As I looked at all this, I realized, I asked Dick Hoyt this question. You know, for the first 30 plus years of their running, no one knew who they were, right? Amazing, though, that now everyone knows who they were. In fact, so powerful were their stories, so much was I attracted to it that I asked them, and a year ago we did a book together that came out on Father's Day. A book about a father's love for his son. And during the writing of this book, I had the great opportunity to interview Rick, to spend time with Rick, ask him questions. It takes him a while, but he'll type you an answer. I asked him one question. I always look for that question. What question can I ask someone that might really inspire a great answer? I asked him, Rick, God gives you the use of your legs and your arms and your body for one day. What do you do? His answer was pretty short. He said, I'll sit my father down in the chair and I'd push him. Dick and Rick Hoyt are amazing. Dick Hoyt, to me, even more so than Rick, for all of Rick's pain and all that he's gone through, all of his love of his son. I keep thinking, what an amazing man. You see, most fascinating thing about Dick Hoyt to me is that this is a man that has never won a single race. He's never finished first in any race he's ever run. And yet I will tell you, he's one of the greatest champions I've ever had a chance to be around. Because Dick Hoyt embodies what I will tell you is an absolute. You want to look at the characteristics of the truly great. You want to look at the answers that these amazing champions have given to that question, what allows you to go from good to great? Dick Hoyt will tell you, you know what, I didn't do it to get famous. I didn't do it to have people know who I was. The YouTube thing, I had no idea. He'd never even heard of YouTube when people started calling. He did it because it was the right thing to do. He did it because he lives his life comfortably with integrity. He lives his life for his son.
Even though we found that bringing you back for a second speech last year was right on the mark, we were still a little hesitant having you return for a third time. I can say without a doubt that the content of your most recent speech was again on par with and in excess of what we've come to expect from you. A passionate, funny, and emotionally stirring motivational speaker.